Next, from the vault, caught on film, frightened Central Illinoisans look to the skies after a big bird tries to carry away a small child. Plus, a multi-alarm fire destroys part of a historic downtown and forever changes a Central Illinois city. All that, the key to the future. A local library unveils its new computer. And
Yes, he said, well, it's been a quiet night everywhere. Of course, that's the flying saucer landing at Sodorus created a little activity.
a mysterious phone call and a close encounter of the Central Illinois kind? It's next from the vault.
The stories that made news and made history, the places that matter to us, and the people who make Central Illinois home. Join us from the vault.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, from the vault. I'm Matt Metcalf. It was more than 30 years ago that a massive fire swept through downtown Champaign, forever changing its landscape. An arsonist started a $2 million fire in one of the buildings where the One Main building is today. It spread to engulf almost the entire block, bounded by Main, Neal, and Fremont. Channel 3's Marta Carrera filed this report. It's from the vault, 1987.
Officials say the fire burned all night, and they expect it will keep smoldering for a couple of days. The fire started around 8 last night and burned through nearly a block's worth of buildings bounded by Neal, Main, and Fremont in downtown Champaign. Fire officials say they won't be able to pinpoint a cause until next week, but they say the fire started in the second story of a vacant building on Main Street.
And it would just appear to have started up in the second floor, because that's where they had the most fire and smoke.
The lady upstairs called down, said there was smoke, and I went back outside and checked behind the building, and it was on fire, so I came back inside and had my partner call the fire department.
The entire Champaign Fire Department, plus engines from Urbana, the University of Illinois, and Chanute were on hand. Officials say about 90 firefighters worked through the night. One Champaign firefighter hurt his arm. He was treated and released. Officials say at one point they were pumping 11,000 gallons of water a minute. They say the fire spread so quickly because many of the buildings involved are old and have no firewalls.
It's a number of buildings close together. They've been remodeled and cut up in various ways over the many years, and that makes firefighting and any fire-related problems very, very difficult. That you have so much fire and it's hard to get water on it. It may appear that you're putting water onto the fire, but you're really not getting water to the seat of the fire because the way the buildings are cut up and designed.
Authorities estimate at least $2 million worth of damage. At least 6 businesses were destroyed and some apartments also damaged. It's no telling how long it will be before the downtown area is back to normal. Marta Carrera, Channel 3 News, Champaign.
A Korean restaurant and the local video arcade, amongst other businesses, were all lost in that fire. The buildings were all torn down and a parking lot sat there for more than 15 years until the construction of the One Main building that we know today. Well, we take computers for granted, right? But back in the day when computers were new, you had to wait in line for your opportunity to use one. When the library at Ridge Farm in Vermilion County got its first computer, you could only sign up for a 1-hour time slot, and the demand was through the roof. Here's Debbie Owens from the Vault, 1983.
With computers being as popular as they are, it's no wonder that everyone's curious about this new technology. In Champaign, the Lincoln Trail Library System has embarked on a computer literacy project. With $38,000 in federal grant money, librarian Debbie Conrad says Lincoln Trail is working in small towns to familiarize people with the nuts and bolts of computers.
This is a way for people to get free access to computers in a non-threatening situation. It's a good experience for adults who've seen them and want to try one out or are considering purchasing one. And it also gives the children a chance to experiment with them.
The project focuses on places like the Elwood Township Library in Vermilion County. The computer here is so popular, the librarian says there's a waiting list 2 weeks long. 15 libraries in the area are already part of the computer literacy project. In many cases, Lincoln Trail provides about $2,000 worth of computer hardware, along with sets of programs fit for preschoolers or adults. The most popular have been educational. For example, Beth Carsman is learning business management.
I've only been here 15 minutes this time, and I've run into a problem.
Do you think it's helped you learn more about the computer or more about this particular subject?
Well, it's just fun practicing.
Debbie Owens, Channel 3 News, Ridge Farm.
Weezy Jefferson comes to Central Illinois. That's coming up. Plus, you'd do anything as a parent, right, to protect your kids? Would you confront this big bird with an 8-foot wingspan? That's next.
From the Vault, celebrating the rich heritage of Central Illinois. Sponsored by Sunset Funeral Homes. Remember, celebrate, heal.
In the late 1970s, reports of a mammoth mystery bird poured into the State Department of Natural Resources. Officials went down, but they were never able to confirm anything. The reports, though, said that this bird tried to carry away a small child. So when a local photographer caught the bird on film down near Lake Shelbyville, it was a news day to remember. Here are John Paul and Dick Adams.
There have been new sightings of a mysterious big bird in Central Illinois. The first report came from Lawndale in Logan County of a huge bird which picked up a young boy. That was in the middle of the week. Then yesterday there were reports from McLean County and from Mattoon in Coles County. Today, still another sighting in Lake Shelbyville. Texas John Huffer, a well-known fisherman from Tuscola, was fishing in the lake with his son Jason. He also had along his film camera. Texas John told Dick Adams what he saw.
We were casting back in there. I looked up in a tree and I saw one of these big birds, and I said, "Now, Jason, look up there. It's on the news all the time now. It's these big birds," and it was huge. And I said, "Now, Jason, we've been down here a lot of times. That must have just moved in." So I had him slip up with a little electric trolling motor, and I got my camera ready. And the closer we got, I could see the head on that bird looked like it was 18 inches high, a big, dark, black head and a huge body. So as we got close to the tree, I had him clap his hands and blow the boat whistle and everything and get that bird to fly. And it finally took off, and you could see that the wingspan was at least 8 to 10 foot, and it was a huge bird. It looked like a huge buzzard, but bigger than any kind of buzzard that lives normally here in Illinois. Well, I've never personally seen a giant California condor, but from the appearances and the shapes of the wings, due to the wildlife that I have photographed and things, and various eagles that I have photographed, I'd say it belongs to this member of the giant condors who can get a wingspan up to 13 feet.
But they're not supposed to be in Illinois.
No, and right now there's all kind of fires and disturbances going on in California. Maybe we have a new Illinois resident.
That'd be a long trip.
They have the wings to do it. This was fascinating. It had big enough size to kind of take your breath away.
Think it'd be big enough to pick up a 10-year-old boy, as has been alleged?
Well, it was big enough that I weighed 260 pounds. I didn't want to get too close to it.
Texas John says they investigated the bird's nest and found droppings as big as baseballs.
That's big. Still to come for you from the vault, we've got the weather forecast as you heard it on the air back in 1958. Plus, a tip to a local weatherman sends thousands out into the countryside for a close encounter.
The stories and people you remember from Central Illinois. Once again, From the Vault with Matt Metcalf.
WCIA has had a lot of memorable personalities over the years. Among them, a University of Illinois graduate, John Coleman. Our viewers might best remember him as the first host of The Hop.
And here we are, right here at The Hop.
The Hop was essentially a local version of American Bandstand, made famous by Dick Clark. The Hop played all the hit tunes and even some classics. It was the place to be for high school students on Saturday evenings. Back in the 1950s, if you appeared on camera at WCIA, you usually did several jobs. You could be a program host, a pitchman for a local product or sponsor, or even do the weather. Coleman was part of the team that supported local weather authority Mr. Roberts on air.
I recently looked at a film of one of the old weather shows that I did, one of my early efforts at Channel 3, and I think the main thing I should do, given this opportunity to appear again on the station, is to apologize to all the Channel 3 viewers. Gosh, I was bad, and I thought I was good, and I must have been intolerable to watch.
Of course, it was a little chilly yet today, too, I'll confess that. But I think that this evening that I can smile a bit and promise you we're going to have a nice Easter. Hope that'd make you happy. Well, let's take a look at the national weather map now and see how things stack up across the country today. Here are the fronts as they appeared. A warm front extended from a low-pressure area in Pennsylvania on out to the Atlantic Ocean. This warm front had some precipitation, which brought rain today to the New York City and Pennsylvania area and on up into lower New England. At the same time, a cold front extended further south across the Atlantic states and across to Texas. Along this cold front today, there were some showers. At the same time, as these arrows indicate here, colder air moved down from Canada across the middle of America and down through our area, bringing us chillier temperatures today. A high-pressure area, however, is going to clear our skies, and as it passes this area, bring us warmer temperatures by the weekend, as there are warmer winds blowing up from a front now attached to this low, but which will soon be attached to this high and bring us clear skies and warm temperatures for Easter.
John was also a bit of a prankster, so was it a joke when he reported on television that aliens landed near Philo in Champaign County? You be the judge.
Over the years, like any organization, we've built up a few tales of times past. Once a young weatherman made a suggestion to his audience on how they might spend a pleasant summer's eve.
I was about to go on with the early evening weather when I got a call from a man who said, John, this is the desk over at the police department, and I know you're about to go on. I thought you'd like to know that we're getting a flood of UFO reports from down around Philo, southeast of Urbana. I said, hey, thanks for calling.
He heard a police radio say that a flying saucer had landed in a field out near, I think, Longview.
Yes, he said, well, it's been a quiet night everywhere. Of course, that's the flying saucer landing at Sodorus created a little activity there.
It's a beautiful summer evening. So I went on the air and I said, what are you going to do with a beautiful summer evening? Why don't you go out and look at the spaceships? I've just had a report from the police that UFOs have been spotted out around Philo.
And as I remember this, he went on the air and he said at 6:15 in the evening, now take this with a grain of salt. You can't believe everything you hear, but I've just heard that a flying saucer landed in a cornfield out in Longview.
It was at a time when everyone was seeing flying saucers, so everybody took off.
Thousands of people got in their cars and went out to see the UFOs, and the roads, the little one-lane rural two-rut roads between the cornfields out around Philo were jammed till after midnight.
They blocked traffic for 4 miles in every direction to Sodorus, you know.
And it turns out that indeed UFO reports had been received. UFOs had been spotted on the radar at Chanute Air Force Base, where they were still flying at the time.
He said it, yeah, it's just there wasn't any weather to talk about, so he made some stupid statement like that. Oh, the state police were mad. We really messed things up for Sodorus.
Though we couldn't say anything publicly, we were vindicated. We still can't say anything publicly, folks. That's classified.
Coleman was a University of Illinois graduate, and he did go on to do weather in Chicago and later San Diego. He also co-founded the Weather Channel in 1982. Still ahead, WCIA goes under the hood for our classic commercial. But next, a one-of-a-kind photo album. Meet the photographer to the stars.
From the Vault, celebrating the stories and people you remember from Central Illinois. Sponsored by Loman Ray Insurance Group, specialized home, auto, and farm insurance for Central Illinois.
Starring this Memorial Day weekend at the Little Theater in the Square at Sullivan is Isabel Sanford. She plays the female lead role in the television series The Jeffersons. I asked her about that series and whether or not she believes it accurately portrays black lifestyles in America.
I think it does, because we have got black affluent families here, and not all ghetto. So I think it reflects a good percentage of the blacks today. We are a spinoff from All in the Family. And with George having his cleaners, then they want to make him an enterprising black man, which consequently made us move on up, as they say. I feel we need as much comedy as possible, with the way things are today, of course. And I think the whole aspect of the show is just, it's now showing how other black people live, and also bringing in comedy situation, which we need the laughter.
Ms. Sanford says that she is grateful for the public's positive reaction to the series The Jeffersons, and she says that after it ends, she hopes to expand her professional career. This is Tom McDaniel reporting from the Little Theater on the Square at Sullivan.
It's not every day that you get to meet a television or movie star, but one Springfield man did. Over and over. He was a photographer to the stars and got unprecedented behind-the-scenes access and created a one-of-a-kind photo collection. Here's PM Magazine's Steve Traynor from The Vault, 1982.
These faces are all familiar to you, all of them big stars. Well, this is the face of the man who took all these pictures, Springfield's own Dean Williams. Dean dreamed of Hollywood when he was a kid because he spent so much time at the movies. A movie was filmed at New Salem State Park, and he met some people who eventually called him to shoot still photographs while they were shooting on location. Dean has now worked on 35 movies since 1978.
You just finished doing Tank with James Garner. What do you remember about him?
When he arrived on the set, he was in full uniform because he was so striking a sergeant major that wherever he went, instant attention was made. And they would holler out, "The sergeant major is on duty!" And at that moment, people would freeze, come to attention.
Kenny Rogers.
Oh, there's another one. Kenny's a great photographer. I don't know if anybody knows that or not. And he is such a great photographer that his goal is to have his pictures displayed, but not as Kenny Rogers, but as Kenny Rogers, the photographer. He is that good, and he just has a wonderful eye. He's so talented besides being a singer.
Sissy Spacek?
The picture, Coal Miner's Daughter, the front cover of the one with her looking down with her microphone, it was a mistake. And the art department says, "Mike, that's her, that's the feeling, that's the one we..." I said, "But her eyes are closed."
He owns 27 cameras, sometimes works a 16-hour day, 6 days a week, and can earn $25,000 per movie. And one reason is he takes 5,000 pictures for a movie.
You have to shoot a lot, not only for publicity's sake, but you have to do it for continuity, to keep the hair, the wardrobe, the makeup, all flowing at the same. The sets, so we have to match them in the future.
What kind of cameras do you use in that case?
The majority of the cameras I use are Polaroid SX70s.
In his career to date, Dean Williams has been a photographer at more than 165 films. He's also served as the president of the Central Illinois Film Commission. Straight ahead, cool tools making music. Car won't start? Is it losing power? Maybe it's a problem with your oil. Let's check in with WCIA's Paul Davis.
Did you know that you could save on engine repairs by spending only 30 seconds? Those are the 30 seconds your Shell dealer takes to check your oil level and ask, when did you last change your oil? These are the most important 30 seconds in the life of your car because even if the dipstick shows full, there's a good chance your motor oil is loaded with sludge, metal particles, carbon and dust, which can lead to costly engine damage. Now, when your Shell dealer advises a change, get Shell X100 Premium. It's 3 motor oils in one. First, it's like a light oil that lets your engine turn over easily when you start. Second, it performs like a medium oil during warm-up. Third, it acts like a heavy oil at high speeds. It won't thin out dangerously when hot. Now remember, Shell X100 Premium, 3 motor oils in one for perfect lubrication from the word go.
I do love those old commercials. Well, we have to be going as well, but we're glad you could join us from the vault. I'm Matt Metcalf. We'll see you next time. We leave you with some inspiring video featuring a man who has fine-tuned instruments usually used for fine-tuning machinery.